Hey everybody, Joe Lowry, what a day, happy Thursday, May 4th, that's right, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you, heard it all day today. Of course, Thursdays to me is like Christmas Eve, but in all actuality is Friday Eve, and that's the prelude to the weekend, folks, so we're almost there. Almost to the weekend, you know. Very rarely do I do a back-to-back what a day, but something's come over me today that I just had to chime in on. Of course, it didn't take long for this to happen. I just got a story off Channel 5 WCVB, Channel 5 Boston. I'm going to read you the article, and then I'm going to give you my assessment. The Boston Red Sox said Wednesday that it ejected and banned a fan from Fenway Park that used a racial slur. According to Red Sox officials, the offending individual was promptly ejected from the ballpark and has since been notified no longer welcome at Fenway Park. The Red Sox organization will not tolerate the use of racial slurs at Fenway Park. We have apologized to those who affected, the team said in a statement. There is no place for racial epithets at Fenway Park or in baseball or in our society. On to the Facebook post now. Calvin Hennick described the incident in front of his 6-year-old son. Hennick said the incident happened immediately following the singing of the national anthem. According to Hennick, a Kenyan woman had finished singing the national anthem when a middle-aged man wearing a Red Sox hat and t-shirt leaned over to him and used a racial slur to describe the women's rendition of the anthem. Hennick, 35, was sitting at the game with his father-in-law, who's also black, and his 6-year-old son, and I thought surely I'd misheard him. This was the day after Fenway fans had made national headlines for racism, and the man could plainly see me sitting with my black father-in-law and half-black son. I asked him to repeat himself, and he said again, she expletive it up. I don't know what that means, but Hennick said he found an usher and told him what he had said again, and he said the Red Sox moved his family to away from the scene and kicked the fan out of the game, but not before it was brought to identify him, at which point the man denied saying that he'd used the profane slur, whatever it was, up to 3 times. Hennick said that the team matter was turned over to Boston police, who would further investigate their civil rights unit and determine whether it deems further action. Red Sox team president Sam Kennedy confirmed while speaking with the media in a press box Wednesday night that the situation did happen. And according to WEEI today, Kennedy believes that this is the first time a lifetime ban has imposed for a fan at Fenway Park. After reading this story, everybody, I nearly lost my marbles. I'm going to tell you why. What in God's name is happening over at Fenway Park that can warrant this? How can this possibly be enforced? So let me get this straight. I'm having a conversation with you, and I talk to you as a friend, and someone overhears me, and then this happens. I mean, are you kidding me? Do you realize how close the seats are at Fenway Park? I mean, I used to joke when I used to sit down at Fenway Park, I would first introduce myself, say my name is Joe, and by the end of the game, we'll be like brothers and sisters. And of course, this broke the ice. It made people more comfortable and so forth. It's just what I did. Now, we can all hear each other in everybody's conversation. That's just part of the history of Fenway Park. We all sit together, close. Standing up and yelling a racial slur at a ball player is one thing. But if I'm having a conversation with my friends or family and someone overhears my conversation and they don't agree with it, you're telling me and the public that it's okay to go tell the usher what we're talking about, and if they don't agree with it, we get the booting for good? I mean, we're arrested, tried, and convicted right there in the spot. Are you kidding me? Seriously, folks? Has anybody ever been to Yankee Stadium? Has anyone gone to Gillette Stadium? I'll even go one step further. Has anyone ever been to a WWE house show or pay-per-view where the crowd's chanting bullshit or you suck or even better yet, go to hell? I mean, I get the intentional racism remarks toward an individual have zero tolerance in this world, and I agree with that, as well as they should be. But now we are reduced to actually involving ourselves in people's rhetoric at a public place? You know, back to growing up at Fenway, I recall in the 70s, Jim Rice, he replaced Kyle Yastrzemski in left field. And I remember people used to call him every name in the book because he either struck out or left a man scoring a position or whatever. And what would his reaction be? He would flip his cap, and that would be the end of it. Another instance, I recall sitting in the bleachers, and an opposing pitcher would start to warm up, and people would, he'd get up, start throwing, and the fans would just yell at him, call him every name in the book. Some people would sit the fan down. Some people would even show their displeasure and take care of business. But guess what I'm getting at? Back then it was part of the culture. I get that. It's not like that now. I totally agree. But are we going too far when a fan overhears another fan's conversation, whether it's deemed racial or ignorant? Has anyone ever ridden the subway? I mean, seriously, has anyone taken the train? Have you ever heard the conversations on the train? Am I missing something here? Why is the issue of Tuesday night lit a spark into me? Again, in case you're just joining me, if you just fast forwarded this video, I am not condoning the actions of what happened Monday night to Baltimore's Adam Jones. I have zero tolerance for that kind of behavior. But what happened Tuesday night? Really? Another fan telling on another fan about what he may or may have said, which was not directly at the person he was allegedly offending to begin with? Does anyone hear me on this? Where does free speech begin or end? I just don't get this. If I'm walking down the street while on my cell phone and I make an offensive remark to the person on the phone and someone walks by me and hears me, what then? Is this not the same thing? I mean, I think Fenway Park needs to rethink this policy after all. I mean, when you're having one fan accuse another fan and then you get on high alert, I mean, I understand that Fenway Park is on high alert right now. I get that. After what happened Monday night, I get that. But the photo on Boston.com and the fan who did the complaining about the other fan, they were all smiles when they interviewed the story. I mean, are you kidding me? When does this craziness end? I mean, if your conversation is overheard by another person while at, let's say, Fenway Park, and that other person finds it offensive and goes tell security, and you get thrown out, then what do you do? You know, a couple of summers ago, I worked for Fenway Park for 2 summers as an alcohol control officer. And my job was to secure at least 3 random checks per game, ID checks, and to respond to any beer stand incidents, which, you know, counterfeit IDs and so forth, anything that was attempted belligerent and all that stuff that was related to alcohol. Our job was to act as a liaison between the customer and Fenway Park officials. The training leading up to that job, I'll tell you, was insane. I went to weeks of training, sensitivity training, ID training, how to deal with a belligerent drunk training, how to recognize somebody who was drunk, so forth and so forth. But I'm telling you, what I need to do is take 90% of the time, most fans were allowed to stay in the park unless they were physically violent or they were declared too drunk to stay. Very rarely did somebody get kicked out. Now, I understand the Fenway fan-friendly thing and all that stuff. But you know what? We always used one thing, and that was the common sense factor. I think it's time for Fenway Park to make their employees take another type of training. And that training is common sense training. I'm Joe Lowry. What a day.